Welcome back to Little Chaparro's channel here. I'm doing another watch review. It's been some time. I know it's been a couple of months now, at least 2. But you know how life is. Life, family, kids, and today's Easter. It's already Easter Sunday today. My video on is going to be on the 62 Mas, the Seiko 62 Mas. As the title states, late to the 62 Mas party. Reason being is I'm in 2025, April 2025. And I finally have 2 62 Mas models from 2020. In this particular case, this one's a little bit after 2020 because the original launch was the SPB143 and the 147 with the 145 being in between each other, and that was a boutique model. But before that, they didn't have that little, the little indentation there next to the date. It used to be just like that when it first launched. So this is quite like a 2022 model technically of the 62 Mas of the SPB143. And this is kind of the original launch of the SPB147 without the little, obviously indication or the indices model there, marker there. Now, what I mean by I'm late to the 62 Mas party is that, again, I'm like 5 years late, but I originally purchased this 147 last year. I want to say like around November, maybe October of last year. I got it for a really good price, a reputable seller on eBay. And I got it for, I want to say right under 600 bucks. And I think for under 600 bucks, this is a fantastic watch, right? And I wanted to have a sibling next to it, much like, like my last video is the turtle, hard enough for the Marine Corps, strong enough for the Marine Corps. I had the SRPB-E093 and the SRPB 773. Yeah, the blue one. Much like that, I wanted to have a sibling for these 2 62 Mas, and I fell in love with the brown dial, like this root beer brown dial. The bezel has that kind of ring to it, really beautiful. It's I want to say it's steel with a coating on top of it. So it's steel bezel with a coating up from Seiko itself. So it gives it this kind of nice hue on this bezel. Colors on the indices, a nice hue on the actual face of the dial of the watch. I love it. And I do love that it doesn't matter if it is a white marker there. Same thing for the 143. But needless to say though, we've already seen the new launches for the new Seiko 62 Mas. And those are SPB, the 451, the 453, and the 455. And I'll have pictures of that posted up here. Those models were launched last year with the Seiko 6R55. They're a slightly smaller model, case model of the 62 Mas, obviously back to its proper reference point of the original 62 Mas. And smaller case size, lug to lug smaller, retains the 20 lug width, but it is a smaller watch. The 6R55 doesn't really change too much out of this particular watch. I don't have it on hand, nor do I own it yet, but I would like to own it just to compare. But the only difference is, obviously, it's a smaller case model. The date changes from the 3 o'clock position down to the 4 and 5 o'clock position in between, which I don't really like. Case height is not as much. Again, it's like a couple of millimeters smaller than this one. I have a large wrist, as you can see. It's really thick wrist, and I think that this is a perfect medium. These 2 watches are perfect. So now, if you guys don't know what the 62 Mas model is, again, it used to be the original 62 Mas is part of the 62 Mas family. There's a great article that I'm gonna link down at the bottom from Worn and Wound from 2020 when the original were launched in 2020. Now, in that article, it's called the Seiko 62 Mas Family 3 Generations Compared. It's a really great comparison between 2020 model of the 62 Mas and the 2017 models of the 62 Mas. And I will show a picture of that as well too. But in 2017, Seiko re-released a 62 Mas. Larger case, the dial was much the same location of the date wheel there. What I did like about that particular models is that the date actually had a frame around it. I don't understand why these new watch companies don't do that. you're paying all this money and you're still not getting a frame around the date wheel for some reason. The old 62 Moss had them. Watches of the past used to have them. I don't know why they're doing that. I hate it so much. Add a damn frame. It's not that difficult. I don't know why. But instead of doing that, they've now moved that. Seiko has decided to move the date from the 3 o'clock position down to the 4 and 5 o'clock position, which I don't like. It's terrible. It's like an afterthought. It's horrible. Now, the 2017 models carried the SR15 movement, much different from this one. It was less than 70 hours power reserve, but basically that's all it really is from this movement. 6R15, it's more power. From the 6R35, it's just more power. It's up to 70 in the 6R35, and now the new 6R55 is really just 72 hours of power reserve. So that's why Seiko has now decided to put 3 days on the dial, again, because the 72 days, right? It's not that much. Only difference between this mod of the 6R35 to the 6R55 is literally 2 hours of power reserve. Other than that, everything stays the same. Still clocking at 21,000 beats per second or so. 3 hertz. Now, I will put up the 17 models of the 2017 62 Moss models. I will post them up. Again, pretty cool watches. I don't like them personally too much, just because the hour marker is an arrow, and I didn't like that. I don't really see those watches having an arrow. Hour indicator really goes best with a field watch, not a dive watch. I don't think the dive watches should carry kind of a broad arrow, hour indicator. Again, as a Marine myself, right, a Marine Corps veteran myself, I only see broad arrow hour indicators on field watches, not dive watches. Now, I believe the 2020 reinterpretation, which this would be the second newest generation of the 62 Moss, are much better. I think they're possibly more refined. Now, again, one of the things that why they're called the 62 Moss, right? The old 62 Moss carried the 6217A movement, right? 62, part of the 62 caliber family. The Moss, MAS, comes from the Seiko Matic self-dater, right? So again, one of the very few watches at the time that could do self-dater, right? And it's a Dia-Shock too, which I had put those back, but they do put that Dia-Shock on the SLA models of the 62 Moss, and those come with either 6L35 or 8L35 movements, I'm sorry. Again, let me see, 6L35 and or the 8L35 movements, which are coming from the Grand Seiko family. And those are, I mean, we're talking about like $2,000 plus. Great watches, not gonna pay over $2,000 for these watches, okay? So again, I'll post some photos of those up there for you, so you can see the comparison. And again, I'll put the article of Worn and Wound article of the Seiko 62 Moss family, 3 generations compared. It's a great article. Read it, look at it. And from 2020, it's a good comparison between the 2017 model, 2020 model, to include the SLA models of the 62 Moss. Again, the SPB, the new reinterpretation, or the third brand new generation of the 62 Moss, is the, like I mentioned, the SPB143, 453, and the 455. Basically, it is a black, a blue, and a special edition model that looks basically the same thing as this one. Same. A date indicator is black, the other one is blue, and the other one is white. They're great, look great. In my opinion, they're just a little bit smaller because they're closer to 40 exactly, and these are closer to 41. I believe that these fit better. Again, I don't have one to compare, but I think that these are much better. Now, take a good look between these two watches. Man, I just freaking love it, dude. I freaking love it. I love it. They have that antiquity look. I love the case shape. I love that square, kind of like straight, not crazy, curvaceous type. I think they're just a straight watch case is phenomenal. Again, well, I can post up some of the measurements for these watches, but I mean, we already know how they look. They do have a domed sapphire crystal, I do like that kind of like nickel or, you know, quarter looking bezel dial. And then the lugs do kind of like curve inwards, so it doesn't look too big, nor does it look too small. But man, dude, I have fallen in love with these. They have that old school feel, yet they're so refined. And it does come with that kind of, what's it called, Seiko's Diashock or some, I forget, it comes with the Seiko proprietary, stainless steel durability material on top. It does give that slight yellowish hue if you see it. There's a hue on the dial that you can see right here. It looks yellowish, like a tint of yellow. Same thing for the 143, there's a tint of yellow. It does not match its bracelet, but again, it's so minute that you can't really tell, but it is there. There's that extra coating for, you know, anti-scratching, damage, and so on. Oh, well, it's anti-scratch, not damage. But, I mean, it really isn't, you can't really tell. And it's more pronounced on the 147 instead of the 143. But there's a slight hue to the extra, like, coating to the metal to make sure it's scratch resistant. Now, there are several models that Seiko released for the 62 MOS from 2020 to 2023 before the new launch of the 62 MOS in 2024. Now, if you wanted a brown dial, kind of a root beer color, the 147 is probably the best way to go. The 147 is probably the best way to go just because it scratches that itch of the brown. It covers literally, the 147 can be compared to the 145, which is a boutique model edition, and those go for well over $1,000. They're quite rare, the 145. If you can get them for a good price under $1,000, I would go for it, just because there's not a lot of them, and there were an exclusive boutique edition of them. And there was a Seiko SPB143 that looks very similar to this one, just a different color of a brown, and it doesn't come with a Seiko strap, rubber strap. It comes with an actual NATO strap, which is a really nice NATO strap. I think they come with two NATO straps with that one in particular, the SPB239. And again, Seiko does these weird numbers, right? SPB239, 147, and then they did enter the 400s right before the 2024 model release. Your special edition, like your US Special Forces edition dial, which was kind of like an ice kind of dial with some type of it was a really nice like texture dial for that particular 62 MOS. But my belief is that the 147 and the 143 are probably the best two models you should buy before they stop making them, and just have them in part of your collection if you can get them from a good price. Again, go on eBay. You don't need to buy them brand new. Over $1,000 is a little bit too much, but at the same time, when it comes to these particular Seikos, they're really good. I know I hear a lot of people complaining about the 62 MOS from 2020 through 2023, but I don't have too much to complain about. I mean, they're really good watches for a little bit over, just for $1,000. It's actually not too bad. Obviously, we wish we could have that 4 Hertz model, beating at 28,000 plus, right? Those are your similar type of movements across all watch companies. You have either an age 35, A, or 38 with the no date, or you can have your Sellita SW200, or you can have a Miyota 9015 or 9039. You know, the issue with those particular watches or those micro brands using those particular movements is that the dials are gonna follow the same sequence or the same dial layout. They're always either gonna have the date down at the bottom, and they're all gonna look very similar to each other, not too different. And what makes it much more different is that having these particular 62 MOS models from 2020, they're just hefty, man. They're very hefty, and they're just underneath the Seiko Lux models. And I just got to give it to Seiko. These are great watches. I have no problem with it. Now, I believe that, you know, before Seiko decides to start making more of the SPB451, 453, 455, and its special editions, I think that eventually Seiko will stop making the SPB143. I don't think they even make the 147. They may, I don't know. I would visit maybe Exquisite Timepieces and some other ones like Francis and Gay from the Mad Watch Collector, you know. But I think that if you're able to buy the 62 models from 2020, I would do it now. Again, there are several models, so many models from that year that you can get, which I think it's awesome that Seiko decided to make several colorways that would satisfy any buyer's needs, right? I will touch on this particular 62 models model from 2020 is that, yes, the bracelet is not the best. It kind of does feel a little bit cheap, but it's not bad. I hear all these people complaining and, oh, the bracelet this and the bracelet that. You know what? I've had bracelets from micro brands and like Seiko watches. They're a great brand from France, and still the bracelet felt kind of the same as the Seiko 62 models from 2020. My only issue is I wish that Seiko would stop using the pin and collar system, right? That whole pin and collar system. And I wish they would make the entire clasp smaller. Please make this smaller. It needs to be smaller. And I think they did make it smaller with the new one. And I wish they would do, instead of micro adjust, I wish you can do on the fly adjustments. Like you can press something and slide it. I mean, Saint Martin and a lot of those Chinese company watches can do it now. I think Seiko should follow suit. But hear me out. I think the reason they don't do that is that a lot of the cost is saved with the bracelet and the clasp, but a lot of it is spent on the case itself. I mean, the durability, the heftiness, because these things are hefty, man. They're not light, and I think they're just a refined watch. Obviously, if they were to refine the bracelet and make it as good as the case itself, I mean, we're looking at least a $1,500 to $2,000 watch and still not even clocking up for a 4 hertz movement. Now, I wouldn't, if you have the money, I mean, again, if you have the money, I would pay for the SLA models of the 62 MOS. Those are awesome, but they are smaller at 39 case size, 39 millimeter case size. These are exactly about 40.5. The newer ones are more like 40.3, maybe 40.1, closer to that 40, true 40. These are not bad. I think these are fantastic. And with that, hey man, thanks for stopping by. There's a long-winded review of the 62 MOS from 2020. Like I mentioned, I'm late to the party, but I'm here, and I will start launching more videos as well. I do have a couple more Seikos that I want to cover, like for instance, the new Samurai. I think the black version is an underrated one, and I will cover on the next video. But if you can get your hands on the Seiko new Samurai, you know, the smaller case size one that just launched last year, I think you would love it, especially this black one. I mean, I love it, and it looks so much better with the hands and the black dial, the muted black dial, as well as that hour marker. But again, more on that on next video. Thanks.